Namaha. Namo Mahavarinyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Garatrise Namaha. Reading from Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat by Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur, Madhya Kanda, Chapter 3. Sri Mahaprabhu and Sri Nityananda meet in Navadvip. All glories to Lord Vishvambar, the omnipotent Supreme Lord of all living entities. He is the beloved Lord of Nityananda Prabhu and Gadadhar Pandit. All glories to Lord Chaitanya, Advaita Acharya Prabhu, and all the pure devotees of the Lord who have captured him by their unalloyed devotion. You want to blow the conch, yeah? Jaya Sabarkar Sisi Guru Gauranga Sundar Radha Giridhari Ki. My dear Lord Chaitanya, I am a very wretched and miserable person. Please awaken within me the mood of devotion and redeem me from this ocean of material nescience. The devotees repeatedly floated on waves of transcendental bliss, seeing the manifestations of Lord Chaitanya's ecstatic mood. Lord Chaitanya's devotees are as dear to him as his very life. Chanting Krishna's name, Lord Chaitanya wept bitterly in separation from the Lord. He embraced his beloved devotees who gathered around him, crying in ecstatic love of Krishna. The devotees undeviatingly engaged in devotional service, experienced Krishna Prema in the association of Lord Chaitanya. Even stone-like hearts would melt at the sight of the Lord's ecstatic manifestations. The devotees found no more interest in wealth, family, and children. Day and night they remained by the side of the Lord, chanting Krishna's name. Sri Gaurachandra became absolutely absorbed in love of Krishna. He exhibited different devotional moods, finding inspiration from the topics the devotee discussed. In the devotional mellow of servitude, he would cry for hours, as if Mother Ganga has descended through his eyes. Then, in a jolly mood, he would laugh for hours. When he felt unconscious, he remained without breath for several hours. At times, when he became aware of his position as the Supreme Personality, he would, with real arrogance, say, I am him, the Supreme Lord, and laugh. Where is that old man, Advaita Acharya, the one who brought me here from my spiritual abode? I will fulfill his desire and distribute Krishna Prema to every house. The next moment the Lord would cry out, O Krishna, O my beloved Lord, and weeping he would tie his feet with his long curly tresses. Once he repeated a sloka from the Srimad Bhagavatam, spoken by Akrura as he came to take Krishna and Balaram away to Mathura. He fell to the ground like a stick, offering his obeisances as if he were Akrura. Absorbed in ecstatic trance, he said, O Nanda, let us take Krishna and Balaram to Mathura and see the great festivals at the place where they are performing the Dhamma Yajna sacrifice. In this way, Lord Chaitanya exhibited so many ecstatic moods. This gave unlimited bliss to all the devotees present there. One day the Lord heard the pastimes of Krishna in his incarnation as a boar, Lord Varaha. Roaring, he rushed to Murari Gupta's house. Lord Chaitanya had a special love for Murari Gupta, just like Lord Ramachandra had a special love for Hanuman. When Lord Gaurachandra arrived at Murari Gupta's house, Murari Gupta received the Lord with great respect, offering obeisances to the Lord's lotus feet. The Lord hurried past him, shouting, "Varaha, Varaha!" Murari Gupta was left dumbfounded, looking all around him. The Lord entered the temple room of Lord Vishnu and saw a beautiful water pot standing in the corner. Just at that moment the Lord took the form of Lord Varaha. Absorbed in this mood, he lifted the water pot with his tusks and roaring loudly like a boar. He stood there with his 4 hooves. The Lord ordered Murari Gupta, "Offer prayers to me, Murari." Murari remained dumbfounded, amazed by this extraordinary sight. No words came to his mouth. The Lord then said, "Speak up, Murari, speak up. You do not have to fear. Don't you know my supreme identity?" Trembling with fear, Murari pleaded with the Lord, saying, "O Lord, only you yourself know how to glorify yourself and offer prayers. Lord Anantashesh, who holds the entire creation upon just one of his hooves, has manifested 1,000 mouths to glorify you, yet he laments that he cannot find the limits of your glories. Who is more capable than Anantashesh to glorify you? The entire material universe follows the instructions of the Vedas, yet these very Vedas are unable to fully reveal your transcendental absolute nature. We have heard that there are an unlimited number of universes in this material creation, and that they are all emanate from the pores of your transcendental body. You are the fully independent supreme autocrat, and you are always blissful. How is it possible for the limited Vedic literature to describe the pastimes which you perform according to your own sweet will? Therefore, O Lord, only you know yourself fully, and others can know you only if you reveal yourself to them through your causeless mercy. What ability do I possess to offer you prayers and glorify you?" Saying this, Murari Gupta fell flat upon the floor, offering obeisances to the Lord. Lord Varaha was pleased with Murari Gupta's words. Then, expressing anger at the Vedic literatures, he spoke aloud. "The Vedas have the audacity to say that I have no hands, no legs, no mouth, and no eyes. There is a mischievous sannyasi living in Kashi who teaches this to his students. That rascal tries to mutilate my transcendental form. He studies the Vedas and teaches others, but he does not accept my transcendental form. As a result of such blasphemy, he has been attacked by the dreaded disease leprosy. But he cannot understand the reason for this affliction. I am the Lord of all sacrifices, the Supreme Lord Vishnu. There are no imperfections in my transcendental form. Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are always engaged in glorifying my supreme transcendental position and nature. A mere touch of my body can spiritualize and purify everything. Yet that rascal is so insolent that he proclaims that my transcendental form is non-existent. Carefully hear my opinion, Murari Gupta. I will reveal to you that which is unmanifest, even by the Vedas. I accepted the incarnation of Varaha to lift the material world out of the waters of nescience. Know me to be the ultimate goal of the Vedas. The purpose of my present incarnation is to propagate the congregational chanting of the holy names of Krishna. In this incarnation, as in other incarnations, I will annihilate the miscreants for the protection and pleasure of my devotees. I cannot tolerate my devotees being threatened and tortured. I will even kill my own son to protect my beloved devotees. This is not a lie, Murari. Listen attentively. In my boar incarnation, when I lifted the earth, Mother Earth became impregnant by my touch. She gave birth to my son named Naraka, who was very strong and powerful. I gave my son all religious instructions. He became a very powerful king and dutifully protected the demigods, the brahmanas, the spiritual masters, and the devotees. However, the hand of destiny changed everything. Due to the influence and bad association of King Bana, he became a criminal and was cruel to the devotees. Any aggression or violence towards my devotees is totally intolerable to me, so I killed my son to protect my devotees. I am revealing all these confidential matters to you because you have been serving me for many births. Murari Gupta was overwhelmed by the Lord's presence and narration, and he wept with joy. All glories to Sri Gaurachandra and Sri Murari Gupta. All glories to Lord Varahadev, the protector of his devotees. In this way, Lord Chaitanya went to the homes of all his devotees, and by his causeless mercy revealed his real supreme identity to them. The devotees and servants recognized their Supreme Lord, and their hearts were filled with ecstatic bliss. They now became fearless and did not care for the atheist. They went everywhere in all public places and chanted Krishna's name loudly. Day and night, the devotees spent their time with the Lord chanting and singing Lord Krishna's holy name. Only Lord Nityananda Prabhu was missing, and this saddened Lord Gaurachandra. Lord Vishvambar was constantly thinking about Lord Nityananda. His separation became unbearable to the Lord. Lord Vishvambar knew Lord Nityananda to be the Supreme Lord Ananta Vasudeva. I shall take this time to describe some transcendental facts about Lord Nityananda's birth, activities, and so on. The Supreme Lord Nityananda Prabhu was born in the village of Ekachakra in Radhadash. Sri Nityananda, who is Lord Haladhara Balaram, worshipped Lord Modesvara, Lord Shiva, in the form of his linga. This temple is situated close to the Lord's birthplace. Lord Nityananda's parents were extremely pious. His father, Hadai Pandit, was a very learned Brahmana, very compassionate and detached from material life. His mother, Srimati Padmavati, was a very pious and chaste lady. She was a great devotee and a universal mother. Lord Nityananda Rai was the eldest son of the family. Everyone was captivated by his good looks. I have already described in detail his childhood pastimes in the early portion of this book. So for now, I will give only indications, otherwise the book will become voluminous. Lord Nityananda spent some years performing his childhood pastimes in the house of Hadai Pandit. The Lord decided to leave home, but he could not savor the bonds of affection of his mother and did not want to see her suffer. The parents could not live for a moment without seeing Lord Nityananda. If Nitai were even a moment out of sight of his mother and father, that instant would seem like a yuga. Hadai Pandit never went anywhere without his son. When Hadai Pandit went about doing his work, like going to the fields, attending to the pilgrims, or going marketing, Lord Nityananda would always accompany him. If perchance the Lord fell behind Hadai Pandit, his anxious father would look repeatedly behind himself to check whether the Lord was continuing to follow or not. The parents often embraced and fondled him, and the Lord's soft body, which was like butter, would melt with the bodies of his parents. Lord Nityananda became dearer to Hadai Pandit than his own life. The Supreme Lord is the Supersoul, therefore he knew all the desires of his father, and thus he remained in the house to make his father happy. One day, by divine arrangement, a sannyasi with a divine appearance visited Lord Nityananda's house. Hadai Pandit welcomed him and looked after him very nicely, with great pleasure. Lord Nityananda's father spent the whole night with the sannyasi, talking about Krishna and his pastimes. As he was preparing to leave early the next morning, the sannyasi asked Nityananda's father, "I have one request." Hadai Pandit replied, "Whatever you desire, you may have." The sannyasi said, "I am on a pilgrimage tour, but I do not have a good Brahmana as a companion. Give me your eldest son for a few days to be my companion. I will protect and look after him with my life. And your son will also be able to learn about the many places of pilgrimage we visit." The sannyasi's words greatly perturbed Hadai Pandit, who was a pure and pious Brahmana. Fraught with worries, he became weak and thought, "The sannyasi has begged for my very life, and I feel that if I refuse, then I will be ruined. Great personalities previously have offered even their lives to fulfill the desire of a sage or a renunciate. In the Puranas we read that Lord Ramachandra was dearer to his father Dasharat than his own life. Once the sage Vishvamrita begged Dasharat to allow his son to come with him. It was very painful for Dasharat to be apart from his son, Lord Ramachandra, yet he did not refuse. I feel myself to be in the same predicament. O Lord Krishna, please guide me and protect me in this dilemma. By divine arrangement, I have to take the position of Dasharat, and my son is taking the position of Lord Ramachandra. Otherwise, why is this all happening around my son? Moreover, Nitai has such an air of material detachment about him." Hadai Pandit went inside to consult with his wife. The chaste Padmavati, the universal mother, heard everything from Hadai Pandit and said, "Whatever you decide, my lord, is my decision too." Hadai Pandit returned to the sannyasi and put his son in his custody. He stood there, crestfallen, with his head hanging down, and Lord Nityananda left with the sannyasi. In this way, Lord Nityananda was able to leave his house. As soon as Lord Nityananda left, Hadai Pandit crumbled to the ground, unconscious. He wept bitterly in separation from his beloved son and Lord. His piteous cries could even melt a heart of stone. Overwhelmed with intense love and separation from the Lord, Hadai Pandit appeared to be in a state of total shock. He went about like a statue. The people said, "Hado Ajay has become mad." For 3 months Hadai Pandit stopped eating. However, unlike the ordinary human beings, he did not die or become emaciated. He remained alive by his attachment for the Supreme Lord. In this context, a person may question why the Lord left his house where he was so beloved. The correct answer to that question is that Lord Vishnu and his devotees, the Vaishnavas, possess unlimited potencies, hence their activities are inconceivable. Lord Kapila, saturated in transcendental knowledge, left his home and widowed mother for the sake of saving the entire creation. Srila Shukadev Goswami walked out of his home and left his father, who was none other than the great Vaishnava Vyasadeva, without once looking back. Even a wonderful and affectionate mother like Sachi had lost her son, who became the crest jewel of the sannyasis and left her alone. Renunciation on the spiritual platform is not like ordinary renunciation. Who can understand the meaning of this? The Lord performed such pastimes for the liberation of all living entities. Such is the unparalleled mercy of the Lord. The moving story of how King Dasharatha was separated from his dearest son, Lord Ramachandra, when he went to the forest, would bring tears to the eyes of even a meat-eater. After leaving his home, Lord Nityananda traveled carefree and happy to many places of pilgrimage. He visited Gaya, Kashi, Prayag, Mathura, Dwarka, Badrika Ashram, and many more places. He visited the birthplace of Lord Buddha, and from there he went to the cave of Vyasadeva. In the south, he visited the temple of Lord Ranganath at the tip of India, where Lord Ramachandra had built the bridge to cross to Sri Lanka. Then he went to the Malaya hills. He traveled through lonely forest fearlessly. He also visited Komati, Gandaki, Sayu, and Kaveri, Ayodhya, Dandakaranya, Trimala, Vyankatanata, Sapta Godavari, the abode of Lord Vishnu, of Shiva, the Kanya Kumari. He visited temple. Then he visited Reva river, Mahishmati, Malatirtha, and Haridwara, where the Ganga had descended in ancient times. His travels finally brought him to Mathura. He visited Gokula, the place where he had appeared in his previous incarnation as Lord Balaram. He roared with ecstatic emotion, but no one could recognize him as the original Lord Anantasesh. In Vrindavan, he felt like a young boy, playing with the sand of Vrindavan and rolling about in the ground. This feeling was constantly with him. He did not even feel like eating. He just wanted to roll and play in the dust of Vrindavan. No one could understand the inner mood of Lord Nityananda. He simply maintained himself on the nectar of loving exchanges with Krishna. On some rare occasions, he drank a little milk, and even then, only if someone offered the milk to him unsolicited. Whilst Lord Nityananda was living in this manner in Vrindavan, Lord Gaurachandra revealed his supreme identity to the devotees in Navadvip and became constantly engaged in the congregational chanting of the holy name in great ecstasy. But he felt a great lack in the absence of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. Lord Nityananda had been waiting in Vrindavan for Lord Chaitanya to reveal his Sankirtan pastimes. Therefore, as soon as he realized that Lord Chaitanya had become his Sankirtan movement, he immediately came to Navadvip and stayed in the house of Sri Nandana Acharya. Nandana Acharya was a very elevated devotee, and he was most happy to have Lord Nityananda Prabhu staying in his house. The Lord had a large body that was very effulgent, like the brilliant sun, and was dressed in the clothes of a traveling renunciate. Day and night he chanted Lord Krishna's holy name and was always grave and equiposed. Lord Nityananda is the supreme, unequaled personality, non-different from Lord Chaitanya. Absorbed within himself, he often roared loudly like a lion, for he is the direct manifestation of Lord Balaram. His beautiful glowing face would easily defeat the radiance of 1,000 shining full moons. His captivating smile played sweetly on his exquisite lips. So white and radiant were his teeth that a pearl against them would look like a faded and discarded piece of glass. His long, languid eyes stole the pinkish tinge of the early rising sun. His arms were long and reached down to his knees, and he possessed a robust chest and broad shoulders. His lotus feet were soft, and his gait was graceful. He spoke to everyone with kind words, which savored the bonds of material attachment within their heart. All the devotees with shouts of joy welcomed the coming of Lord Nityananda to Navadvip. Who can describe the unlimited qualities of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, the one who had the potency to break the sannyas stick of Lord Chaitanya? Lord Nityananda is so merciful that anyone who chants his name becomes purified. Even a gross materialist, an ignorant or fallen person, can cross over the ocean of material nations if he simply chants Lord Nityananda's name. His holy name is capable of purifying the entire material creation. Nandana Acharya Prabhu was more than happy to have Lord Nityananda Prabhu stay in his house, and he looked after him with great care. Whoever hears Lord Nityananda's pastimes of coming to Navadvip will be blessed with Krishna Prema. Lord Vishvambar heard of Lord Nityananda's arrival in Navadvip, and he felt great joy within. Earlier, Lord Chaitanya had given indications of Lord Nityananda's arrival to the Vaishnavas, but they could not understand the import. The Lord had told them, "A great personality will come to Navadvip within a few days." Lord Gaurachandra worshipped Lord Vishnu in his temple and then quickly went to meet all the devotees. He told them, "Last night I had a wonderful dream. A chariot came and stood in front of my door. The chariot's flag had a palm leaf drawn on it. This chariot was meant to carry one from this temporary material existence to the absolute reality. Within the chariot was a colossal figure. He carried a plough on his large shoulders. He was moving about as if he were restless. In his left hand he carried a renunciate's water pot, which was wrapped over by cane reeds. Both his upper cloth and lower dress were blue. A beautiful earring pierced his left earlobe. His whole appearance and demeanor indicated that he was Lord Balaram. Upon speaking, he repeated a question at least 10 or 20 times, saying, 'Does this house not belong to Nimai Pandit?' Never before have I seen such a formidable-looking mendicant. I felt great respect for this person and I asked, 'I see that you are a great personality. Who are you?' Smiling, he replied, 'I am your brother. Tomorrow we shall get to know each other.' His words increased my delight, and I began to feel that he and I were the same person. In the middle of the narration, the Lord went into an ecstatic trance, and entering into the mood of Lord Balaram, he began to roar and shout loudly, 'Bring me wine, bring me wine!' This thundering voice seemed to burst the eardrums. Srivas Pandit said, 'Listen, dear Lord, the wine that you desire is to be received from only you. Therefore mercifully distribute your wine so that you and all may partake of its ecstasy.' I stop here for today. Jai Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Ki Jai. Madhya Kanda chapter 3. Sri Mahaprabhu and Sri Nityananda meet in Navadvip. Ki Jai. Jai Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai. Sriman Sarvabhavana Das Ki Jai. Jai Srila Gurudev. Hari Yaraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Gopal Govindaram Sri Madhusudan. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra. Gadadara Sivasari Kora Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Rupa Sanatan Datara Guna. Sri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Datara Guna. Jai Kusai Kuri Karana Bandam. Jai Devi Nana Savishta Puram. Jai Kusai Jai Muritarada. Sansavara Parare Numara Panchaka. Jai Sisi Guru Kuranga Sundar Radha Kiridai Juki. Om Vishnu Patsila Bhakti Nirmala Chaya Maharaj Ki. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Sri Acharya Vrinda Ki. Om Vishnu Patsila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki. Om Vishnu Patsila Bhakti Rakakshira Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki. Bhagavan Sila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki. Sri Rupanuga Gurvaga Ki. Namacharya Sila Haridas Thakur Ki. Sabhashada Sri Nityananda Prabhu Ki. Sabhashada Sri Mahaprabhu Ki. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath. Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki. Tulasi Maharani Ki. Ganga Yamuna Jil Ki. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Ki. Sri Navadvip Dham Ki. Sri Mayapur Dham Ki. Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki. Sri Purushottama Dham Ki. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ju Ki. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat East London Chapter Ki. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat West London Chapter Ki. Samadvaita Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Samadvaita Vaishnava Mandala Ki. Harinam Sankirtan Ki. Sri Ekadashi Vrata Ki.